So let's begin by sitting up tall. This is the last day of pretty two unusual kriyas. They're short, and then they move into this 4-stroke breath to build intuition. It took me a while to move into this kriya. I was really sore the first 3 days from this movement in the beginning. And also I felt a lack of mental stability at the end of the kriya, which was really unusual for me. I've since worked through that. But one thing I love about Kundalini Yoga is that it's it truly is a yoga of awareness. And we don't really understand why we're holding certain mudras, but there's all these subtleties that are happening in the body that connect us to our emotional and our mental state. Like at the end of this kriya, we're asked to step away from our body and observe the body, trying to separate the mental state and the physical state. And I've thought about that in bed in the morning, lying there thinking, I feel cohesive. Is it possible for me to step away from myself, observe myself? Is that my mental component? Is that my spiritual component? But we are well aware that there are these different parts of the 10 bodies. There's also a very famous kriya in yoga that supposedly works on the 10 bodies, the physical body being only one. So let's sit up tall. You're developing your spiritual muscle, so as you're sitting up tall, closing the eyes, immediately we lift the heart. As we lift the heart, it brings our spine into the best alignment. I'll mute you now. So feel free to make any sounds you need to make during your practice. I miss hearing all of you breathe. Last night we had a small class with Melanie and Maria and Pablo, and we were able to keep the mics on, and it's so nice to hear other people breathing. It helps motivate everyone. So just imagine that people are breathing with you. As we're sitting here connecting to our breath, we do a quick check-in of our emotional state. We check in with the sensations of our body. How does it feel this Saturday morning to be in your body? Or whenever you may be hearing this recording. We also make whatever sounds are in the space that you happen to be in, just make them part of your practice. And finally, we're observing thoughts. What is the nature of my thought? What was my last thought? Was it a recurring thought? Was it a thought I've thought hundreds of times? By chance, was it a new or different thought? One that I'm not usually prone to think. Maybe it was an intuitive thought, the ones we really want to pay attention to. We connect all of this by tuning in with the Adi Mantra, the Ong Namo Guru Dev Namo. I'm honoring that creative intelligence whatever that means to you, and I'm especially honoring my divine creative intelligence inside of me. So we bring our hands to prayer position. 3 inhale, 3 exhales. Inhale. 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 Adi mantra. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Sit and breathe, knowing the intention of this Kriya is for mental and physical vitality, and also to increase intuition. So throughout this practice, breathe into that third eye, that pituitary gland, right behind the bridge of the nose in the center of the brain. As we breathe deeply through the nose, you can feel that breath going all the way to the pituitary gland and opening up your third eye, opening up your intuition, your creativity. So let's open our eyes for a short little warm-up before we begin the Kriya. I'm going to take my legs straight out in a Paschimottanasana. I'll start by just massaging the legs. Making contact with my own body helps me ground myself into this physical body temple, my space suit for this earth experience. Then reach down, grab the big toes, place the thumb right on the nail bed of the big toe, peace sign fingers around the toes. I've got a long flat back as I'm inhaling up, exhaling. I'm trying to bring the chest towards the knees with a long flat back. Just do these at your own pace. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Hopefully you will feel this in your lower lumbar spine. The kidneys and the adrenals right down there in the lumbar spine are relaxing, getting a little massage, opening up. Breathe into the thoracic spine behind your heart and lungs. And feel the cervical spine right there in your neck. Try to lead with the heart as you're coming down. I'm leading with my heart. Maybe the legs will release. They might even go flat onto the floor, but only if it feels okay on the lower lumbar spine. Otherwise, keep the knees bent. Let's inhale, come up. Take the hands behind you, point the fingers away from the body, flex the feet back towards the chest. So you're opening up the heart, looking up to the ceiling if that's okay on your neck. Continue to breathe deeply through the nose. You know, in Kundalini Yoga, all breath happens through the nose. It more quickly activates the nadis, the energy channels. If you're feeling sleepy or tired this morning, that deep breathing will wake you up faster, enliven you, wake up the body. You're spreading prana throughout the body. Sit back up tall. come into to Dandasana for a moment, staff pose. So I'm just pushing down on the floor, lightly lifting my hips up, my buttocks up. I feel it in the triceps, the biceps. I feel it in my pectoral muscles across the chest. You could try to do this in reverse. So push the hands behind you and then try to lift up. So you get the front forearms, stretching that out from all of the use on our devices of the forearm. Fingers are spread wide on the mat. Then bring the left hand to the right knee and we just do a nice little spinal twist. We'll do more of these in the practice, in the Kriyas. Coming back to center, right hand, left knee, left palm is just flat on your mat behind you. Flex the feet back, engaging those top muscles on the shins. I've been doing so much yoga. I've never had such definition in my, I've got to lift these top muscles up. Okay, let's draw the soles of the feet in. Wrap the fingers in a Venus Mudra around the toes. Thumbs touch just right below the big toes. So the big toes, the thumbs, both pads are touching. We're lifting the heart. Helps lift this spine up even taller, more straighter. I love this Kriya, how it works on the vertical axis of the spine and the horizontal axis. We'll finish in our meditation with this vertical and horizontal axis. Let's take the legs out wide for the life nerve stretch. Try to take them as wide as you can. Reach down again with the peace sign fingers. It's similar to how we started in the Paschimottanasana, but this one is, I'm just sitting up, trying to sit up as tall as I can, then bringing my head, my forehead closer to the mat. Inhale up, exhale down. Keep trying to stretch the legs as far apart as they'll go. You'll feel the hamstrings giving way, the calves giving way. Maybe take the hands behind you again and do this open up with the legs spread wide, feet flex back towards the midline. Maybe I can look up at the ceiling, opening up the neck, the heart, the throat chakra. Let's come around onto the knees for just a few cat-cows. Warming up the spine a little bit more. Remember, fingers are spread wide like a starfish. Helps protect the wrist. If you have that deepen's contracture, it's where those tendons begin to draw up around the ring finger. This pushing down onto the mat really keeps that abated from the tendons from drawing up. Let's curl the toes under and just come into a plank pose just to build some heat. Great for the shoulders because we're going to open up the shoulders in a few moments. If this gets to be too much, you can always modify, drop your knees. And let's push back, downward facing dog. Walk out the dog. One heel to the mat, bend the opposite knee. Right heel to the mat, bend the left knee. Then eventually maybe both knees will come down, both heels will come down to the mat. Now you're going to just walk your hands back to your feet. Be in this deep forward fold. A nice inversion for the morning. Maybe you take your palms and massage the back of your calves and your hamstrings. You can go all the way from the heels, massage the calves, massage the hamstrings, come all the way up to the buttocks. Then bring the hands to the feet. Same exercise. You're going to feel your ankles and your shins and your knees. Chin is tucked. Bring the hands, making contact with your body, coming right up your thighs. Head is the last thing to come up. Stand in your Tadasana. Arms are at your side. Then lift the heart. Just as when we sit, if you lift the heart standing, the spine comes into a better alignment. We're integrating body, mind, spirit. We're accessing intuition. Intuition helps guide us to what's really important in our lives. We can get distracted with to-do lists and different activities that may use our time, but not keep us on purpose. So let's open the eyes and begin the Kriya for the stimulation and adjustment of the body and mental clarity. I think all of you have done the Kriya, maybe Nicole has not. This starts with the mudra throughout, where the thumb comes into the palm and then the 8 fingers wrap around the 2 thumbs. So it's almost like a closed fist with the thumb inside. This starts off, let me get my timer going here. We're about hip-width distance apart with the feet for good balance. And then it's just these round circles. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. For 1 minute. You don't have to overdo it, but move to the degree that it feels comfortable. You can get sore from this, but that's just breaking down muscle. It grows back and you're stronger. Breathing deeply. Inhales, the arms come up. Exhales, they come down. Now bring them to the side. Let the palms open up. Just stand in Tadasana for a moment. Asking your body to connect, to integrate, to make union. Now for 2 minutes, we'll do the same pose with the arms, but it's 4 standing, then I move into chair, and then it's 4 in chair pose. So it's easiest if your feet are about hip-width distance apart. Let's begin. 1, 2, 3, 4. Chair. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, chair. 1, 2, 3, 4, standing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get your heart rate going. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just do these at your own pace now. 4 standing and 4 in chair. If you start to get winded, you can always slow it down. Or even take a little short break. We want to build the heart rate up. You're also building quads and hamstrings when you go into that chair pose. Let's go 30 more seconds. And come up. Let's take the arms out to a T. Close the eyes. And then let the arms fall to the side. Tadasana, just let your breath equalize, harmonize. Come back to a nice, easy breath through the nose, out through the nose. No mouth breathing. Keep your feet now hip width distance apart. The thumb goes back into the fist. So I start on my right side. My right thumb is in my fist. So I'm going to lift the right foot and the right arm. Inhale up, exhale down. It feels a little odd because we're usually moving alternate arm and leg. So you're asking the brain to do something that doesn't feel normal. Use all 5 toes of that foot that's grounded. Feel the instep, feel the heel. Feel all 5 toes. That'll give you a better grounding to the mat. The left arm is just comfortably at your side. Palm is open. Thirty more seconds or less. And down. Just stand Tadasana. Close the eyes. Observe any effects. We've just used one side of our body for some reason. It makes me feel a little not out of sorts, out of balance. Something's not quite right. So now we'll work with the left side. Same thing. Inhale, exhale. Remember to grip with all 5 toes. Use the instep, use the heel. The more we train ourselves to really use our feet for balance, if you trip on a curb or a step, you're much more apt to come back into balance more easily because your body is used to balancing on one foot. And down. Let the arms come to the side, palms forward, be in Tadasana, lift the heart. As soon as you lift the heart, the chin dips in just a bit. A light Jalandhara Bandha hold in the throat. Let the breath equalize, harmonize. 2 more standing postures. This one has 4 parts. So we start in 1. This is 1 at the side. 2, I'm just about hip width distance apart. The arms are wide at a T. 3, I step wider. I bring the back of the hands together over the head. That's a real stretch when you're bringing the back of the hands touching. That's, let me see, that's 3, I think. See, 1, 2, 3. And then here we're back where we started to, and then back to here. So if this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was thinking it was 4, but it's 5. So let's try to do this for 2 minutes. So you can follow me or you can do it at your own pace. So 1, hip width distance. 2, as wide as you can stand. 3, back to the hip width distance. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 minute. We want to go 1 more. If you need to break, just take a little break or maybe slow them down. I don't know if that's easier. Not really. Really building heart rate. Just 30 more seconds. I know we can do it. It's a good brain workout too. And come back to Tadasana. Wow. That's our 2 minutes. Just stand and breathe. Hands at your side. Feel your heartbeat. How fast the heart rate may be going. 1 more standing posture. We'll let our breath equalize for a moment. So take the right hand, place it under the left armpit. Conscious of the endocrine system, the lymph system that has to be pumped. This hand, this left hand, is just relaxed at my side. It's inhale, exhale, I kick the right leg back. Inhale, exhale. Takes a lot of balance on that left standing foot. Use all 5 toes. Use the instep, use the heel. From here we'll go to the floor. So give this your all. Exhaling as I kick back. Come back to standing. Remove that arm. Just stand. Close your eyes. Let things equalize. Now for the other side. Take the right arm, place it on the left arm, place it under the right armpit. This right hand is relaxed at my side. Then inhale, exhale on the kick. You have to use that right foot, all 5 toes, the heel, the instep. The brain has to figure out at a neuromuscular level how to do this because it feels awkward. I'm ready to balance the hemispheres of my brain. They feel out of sorts a little bit. And come back to standing. Just stand in Tadasana, lift the heart. Let everything come back into alignment. On these big, deep inhales through the nose, I try to breathe all the way to my pituitary gland. I want my 6th sense open. Oh, I just realized 6th sense. Was an acronym for the 6th chakra. Okay, make your way onto your back. For this little short Kriya just ended. Now a new one's beginning. This is a little harder than it seems. Yogi Bhajan taught this Kriya in the spring of 1970. And he had them crisscross their legs for 5 minutes. We're only going to do it for starting with 60 seconds. So I'm laying on my back. I'm placing my forearms under my buttocks. My palms are flat under the hamstrings. My back of my head is on the mat. Then let me start the timer. Let's start for 60 seconds, just crisscrossing. Right on top, left on top. I have an inhale and an exhale every time I'm crossing. Inhale, exhale. I'm pointing my toes. If it helps pass time, you can lift up the head and watch your feet. Sometimes it's just as comfortable for me and it helps me pass time. Just 20 more seconds. You can do it. Building core, building strength in the lower back, not just in the core. Almost there. 5 more seconds. Great job, everyone. And take it down, relax. Remove the hands. Let yourself sit in a little Shavasana for maybe 30 seconds. Then we'll go one more time for 30 to 45 seconds. Okay, let's put the arms back under, forearms back under buttocks, palms flat under the hamstrings. And let's go for 30 to 45 seconds. I'll see how you're doing. Let's begin. That's 30. Let's go 45. You can do it. Just 10 more seconds. Keep it up. Yes, come down. Oh boy. Nothing like core work. Okay. Let your breath equalize. One more in core position. This one's easier than the crisscross because we're just doing a piston. Push one leg out, draw the other leg in. So it's a push and pull. We inhale and exhale. We inhale with the push, we exhale with the pull. Whatever breath pattern you get into is okay. Let's push the forearms back under the buttocks. Draw the legs up and let's begin. Push, pull, push, pull. All the breath is through the nose. Let's go for 1 minute, just 20 more seconds. And bring it down. Just relax. When we do strenuous activity, it helps slow down the mind. That in itself is worth it. Stop the mind chatter. And let's come up to a seated position. We've worked with the lower chakras while we're on the floor. Now we're going to be raising, pulling up the energy, up the Sushumna, up the spinal column. Let the breath settle just a little bit more before we move into this. You can place the palms face down on the knees, holding on to the knees. This keeps the energy circulating throughout the body. When we put the palms up, you can feel a subtle change in the energy versus just try it. Have the palms sitting up to the ceiling and then hold your knees. See if you feel a different sense of energy in the body. This is a more closed, circular energy as I'm grabbing my knees. It's a little more grounding. If I push the palms up, connect the index finger, thumb, ego, and Jupiter, then it's a more open energy, receptive. Why they call it the wisdom knowledge mudra. Very ancient mudra. Drawings of people sitting in these positions 3,000-4,000 years ago. A lot of yoga asana is newer in the last 100 years, 130 years. But there are a few really ancient poses like this one. I call it my Buddha pose. Okay, we interlace the fingers so they're in Venus Mudra, and then we flip the palms up. This is where it gets a little stressful, a little hard on the shoulders, the forearms, the hands, but I'm lifting them over the head. I'm pulling up the energy, up the spine. Now I'm going to add breath of fire. Let's go 3 minutes. Forced exhale through the nose, automatic inhale, so it's just, it's like you're blowing your nose. The inhale just comes naturally. You don't really have to do anything. Your body needs air, so it's just going to suck in the air through the nose. Then you can regulate that breath of fire. You can make it slower, faster. And it doesn't have to be a super loud. You hear people doing breath of fire where you hardly even hear them. And then you hear some people in a class where they're just very loud, like, depends on how aggressive somebody wants to be. A more aggressive breath of fire is not necessarily a better breath of fire. Concentrate on pulling the energy up and down the spinal column. Why do I want to pull the energy? Because it spreads prana throughout the body, through all the nadi channels. So you're delivering wellness, balance, harmony throughout the body. I'm pulling the energy up the spine with my arms in this mudra raised above my head. I'm pumping energy from the armpits, the endocrine system, for immunity. Thirty more seconds. Big inhale. Keep the arms pushing up. Hold the bandha. Squeeze anus, sex organs. Pull navel towards spine. You've got the Maha Bandha going. All 3 bandhas. Dip the chin just a bit and release. Float the arms down. Keep the hands touching, grabbing the knees. Keeping the circulation within. I want more balance. After those standing exercises that only worked on one side of the brain and the body, I want everything, both hemispheres of the brain coming back into sync and balancing. The more we work with the subtle body, the more it speaks to us. It tells us what it needs. One more posture, seated posture in this Kriya. So I'm going to take my right hand behind my body. The 4 fingers are kind of resting on the back of my neck, and my thumb is hanging over here, over my right shoulder. And it's coming down to my scapula here. Not the scapula, I'm having a brain cramp. Then the other side comes up. So my 8 fingers are kind of spread on top of each other, and this thumb is forward. So in this position, I can hold my spine up really straight and tall, right? So now we're going to add breath of fire for 2.5 minutes. So you can really pull the spine tall in this position. Breath of fire. Close the eyes as you're doing those inhales. Breathe right into the pituitary gland. Experiment with your breath of fire. Slow it down or maybe speed it up. Or do a lighter exhale and then try a heavier exhale. Breath of fire is so good to exhale all that stale air that may be in the lungs from last night. We want new prana, new life force in our lungs. The fingers are relaxed. I continuously find myself gripping my fingers. Just 45 more seconds. You can do it. Last 30. Pull the spine, sit tall. Inhale. Keep the arms here. Pull up the spine, hold the breath, squeeze the bandhas, sit up tall, pulling the spine as tall as you can, pulling on this vertical axis, and release. Take the palms down, hold the knees lightly, close the eyes, integrate body, mind, spirit, deep connection with your intuition. Life force is spreading throughout every cell in your body. Now make your way onto your backs. It's like you're laying in Shavasana, but I'll give you an instruction. So just come onto your backs. Palms are to the ceiling at your sides. Eyes are closed. Relax completely. Now separate the mental body from the physical body and move it around, meaning try to physically separate from your mental body. I do this by envisioning myself standing up from my prone body. So my body stays on the mat, my physical body. And I stand up and walk to the end of my mat and observe it, just like I'm in a dream state. You could do this in your dreams, right? At night. You could easily just rise up out of your body, stand at the end of your mat, and look at yourself lying on the mat. So I'm attempting to separate my mental state from my physical state. Maybe I walk all the way around my body. Begin to experiment and play with this. Maybe you jump back into your body for a few moments and then go, this is boring. I want to step outside of my body and see myself. You can practice this in bed at night or in the morning when you first awaken and you're in that twilight zone. I practiced it this morning. I was kind of half awake and thinking, wow, can I separate from my body? Can I take my mental state and just step outside of my physical body for a few moments? Now open your eyes. We're going to come back to our seated position, easy pose, or you can sit thunderbolt pose. You may want to drink a water. We did a lot of breath work. This last meditation is a little more breath work. It's called the 4-stroke breath to build intuition. So we're going to take an O mouth, so it's like O, and then I'm going to breathe 4 strokes through that O mouth. So it'll be, let me see. Then I'll close the mouth and I'll exhale. 1 exhale through the nose. The mudra is a Venus mudra, but the right thumb is on top of the left. Then I bring up the Jupiter fingers, the index fingers, and they just rest right at the heart chakra. You can look down at the tips of your index Jupiter finger. We're going to do this for 4 minutes. Right thumb on top, then fingers interlaced in a Venus mudra, index fingers up. Let's begin. Each inhale can be, you can start out, Melanie asked last night, it was a good question. You're trying to increase the intensity of the 4 breaths. So if you take a huge breath on the first O, you don't have anywhere to go. So it's inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the nose. Let's begin. Try to keep the pelvic floor and the legs relaxed. You can do these at your own pace Everyone will have a little different breath count. Close the eyes or just keep them open 1/10, looking at the tips of the index fingers. Those 4 inhales, I imagine the air going right through the soft palate, right through the roof of my mouth, all the way up to my pituitary gland. We're about halfway there. One long exhale through the nose. Just breathe naturally. You can keep the mudra. Breathing luxuriously through both nostrils. One last part. We'll take the arms out to a T. The palms are up to the ceiling. So this is that vertical horizontal axis I spoke of in the beginning. So see how I'm sitting up as tall as I can. I'm aware of my vertical axis, and then I'm aware of my horizontal axis. My wingspan is the same amount of inches as my height. I measured it. So I'm breathing, inhaling, breathing my full vertical axis, and I'm also feeling my full horizontal axis. So I'm stretching in both directions, like the Da Vinci model, the famous model where he has the lines crisscrossing across the human body. Now we add some breath. We inhale, one big long inhale. We're going to hold the breath, unless you're on moon cycle, menstrual cycle. We hold the breath for 20 seconds, and then we do a nice exhale. We'll do this 3 times. So follow me. Big inhale. And hold 20 seconds. And exhale. Another inhale, big inhale. And hold. And exhale. The holding the breath creates new neural pathways, creates neuroplasticity in the brain. One last time. Big inhale. And hold. And exhale and spread the fingers wide. Just shoot the energy out the arms. Oh, I've got my horizontal axis stretching and my vertical axis stretching, and release. Bring the hands down, close the energy. So I'm holding onto my knees. I'm sitting up tall. The Kriya is finished. And the meditation. So now you can lie onto your backs for a nice 10-minute Shavasana. We'll still end a little early today. Let everything go. I'm going to read a wonderful reading today from Mark Nepo's book of Awakening. The Pain of Becoming, it's called. We're all individuals who are striving, always striving to be our best, increasing our knowledge base. How can we contribute? How can we be our best self? I thought this reading really addresses that. For August 1st, it's called The Pain of Becoming. For the flower, it is fully open at each step of its blossoming. We do ourselves a great disservice by judging where we are in comparison to some final destination. This is one of the pains of aspiring to become something. The stage of development we are in is always seen against the imagined landscape of what we are striving for. So where we are, though closer all the time, is never quite enough. The simple rose at each moment of its slow blossoming is as open as it can be. The same is true of our lives. In each stage of our unfolding, we are as stretched as possible. For the human heart is quite slow to blossom and is only seen as lacking when compared to the imagined lover or father or mother we'd like to become. It helps to see ourselves as flowers. If a flower were to push itself to open faster, which it can't, it would tear. Yet we humans can and often do push ourselves. Often we tear in places no one can see. When we push ourselves to unfold faster or more deeply than is natural, we thwart ourselves. For nature takes time, and most of our problems of will stem from impatience. Before my experience with cancer, I was sorely driven as an artist. I pushed myself greatly. I think the creative impulse was deep and irrepressible in me, and ultimately healthy, but it was my secret need to achieve some sort of greatness that made me press until something began to rip. It was the unending, relentless push to measure up, and quickly against some imagined form of myself that made the flower of my mind tear. I do not believe that people bring cancer on themselves, but I do believe that whatever we weaken ourselves, wherever we weaken ourselves, that part will give way to illness first. It was not by accident that the cancer struck the creative side of my brain. Perhaps one of the hardest remedies to accept for our pain of becoming is that wherever we are in our path, no matter how flawed or incomplete, is a blossoming unto itself. However much we've done at the end of the day is more than enough. It is dream becoming truth. I'll bring you back with the bell. Begin to breathe together. Inhale through the nose. Ah, with an audible sigh. Inhale through the nose. Ah, one more. Inhale together. Ah, begin to wiggle the fingers, the toes. You've stretched out your spine in this Kriya so fully, especially in that last meditation. So take the arms over the head. Feel the full vertical axis of your spine. Maybe you take your arms out to a T and you feel the horizontal axis of your spine once more. Take the right palm and roll over onto your left. Let the palms connect. And then bring the right palm back over the body again. You'll open up the chest really nicely. Then take the left palm, connect with the right palm like you're going into prayer position. Then take that right palm back. Spread open the chest. You all know the cool down exercises you need, what your body wants. Either a figure 4, modified pigeon, spinal rolls, spinal twists, whatever feels good. Whatever your body needs. Maybe since this morning you stimulate the hands and the feet, rubbing the palms, rubbing the soles of the feet, all those nerve endings in the body coming to life. You have a full Saturday ahead of you, or whatever day it is when you may watch this recording. Coming back up to a seated position. Let's place the hands on the knees, feeling the energy circulate throughout my body, all 4 quadrants of the body. Really breathing deeply through the nose. I haven't selected the Kriya for next week, but I think it's time to do some alternate nostril breath. Such a hemisphere, balancing of the brain hemispheres. So let's bring our hands into prayer position. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Rodney. Thank you, Melanie. Thank you, Janet. Thank you, Lan. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Pablo. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Roberta, for being on your mats, living your life with purpose, creating community, creating wellness in your body, your mind, connecting to spirit, connecting to intuition. We close our practice with the guiding song, the prayer of protection, wrapping ourselves in love, walking in the light of our higher selves. So just sing along with me. May the long-time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on, guide your way on, guide your way on. 3 long satnams. Satnam, Satnam, Satnam. We bow to each other and we say one final Satnam.